5-001-623 for a continuing bench trial on original petition for permanent custody. Will all parties please state your name for the record?
Kelly Megacy, Assistant Attorney General on behalf of DHCS.
John G. County from Chef, Guardian ad litem.
Adam Devlin, attorney for Alexander Dorsey.
Alexander Dorsey.
Good afternoon, Laura Anderson, T51285, represent the father, Stephen Berry.
Stephen Blair.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Tracy M. Martin, T63745. I appear as guardian ad litem for Ms. Mitchelle Blair, who appears today by video link. Please say your name for the record.
Mitchelle Blair, mother of Gabriella Mackey, when all is well be.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Janice Ober, 35185, counsel on behalf of Ms. Blair.
Okay, everyone can have a seat. Ms. Megacy, we're missing the petitioner.
We are missing the petitioner. I know that she and the foster care worker left the building together. I haven't seen either, and I don't have any phone calls from either. I'm prepared to proceed with testimony.
You don't need her at this point.
Not at this point. I do know Mr. Anderson wants to call the foster care worker, but we can proceed and take witnesses out of order or do another response if the court so desires.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Devlin, we're up to you now. So do you have witnesses?
Your Honor, we do not have witnesses. After reviewing the issues before us with my client, we chose not to call it.
Okay. All right, so to you, Ms. Anderson, I know that to protect the foster care worker is one of your witnesses, correct?
Yes.
And do you have any other witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, so then we're at, the only thing we can do is we can move to Mother's case. Ms. Birds, does Mother have any witnesses, or do you prefer to wait until the
I would rather, I'm sorry, I would rather wait and let her do the last revision.
So you have one witness?
Yes. I've released my other witness.
So the mother, the mother's your witness?
The mother's my witness.
Okay, so
Judge, I can make a phone
all
call.
right, we'll take a brief break, see if you can get a hold of her, Ms. Megacy, and see what the situation is.
Your Honor, before Mr. Blair testifies, we have time for one more line.
You have time. We have a few minutes just to get hold of the worker, so you're okay. Gotta be. So supreme.
Why?
Right.
Because he wasn't just a father.
I thought they were walking in, Your Honor.
Let's go back on the record then. Ms. Hayden, will you put your name on the record?
Department of Human Services.
Okay, so turning to you, Ms. Anderson, your first witness then as a foster care worker.
Yes, I call Ms. Anthony.
Ms. Anthony, would you come forward so you can record? You can come forward, she'll swear you.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give us the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Javita Anthony, J-E-B as in Victor, I-C-A. Last name Anthony, A-N-T-H-O-N-Y.
Ms. Anderson.
Ms. Anthony, with whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I am employed with the Department of Health and Human Services. I'm the foster care specialist.
How long have you been a foster care specialist?
Almost 5 years.
Do you have case responsibility for Gabrielle, Blair, and Matthew Berry?
Yes.
And how long have you been working on the case?
Since March of this year.
So for about 4 months now.
Yes.
And do you arrange for visitation for Mr. Berry and his son Matthew?
Yes.
All right. And when do the visits occur?
The visits usually occur on Wednesdays for an hour.
And do they occur at the agency?
Yes,
And who supervises those visits?
I do.
Has Mr. Berry been visiting with Matthew on a consistent basis?
Yes.
Is Mr. Berry appropriate with Matthew during the visit?
Yes.
Does Mr. Berry ever bring anything for his son Matthew at the visit?
When they first started visiting, he bought him some toys.
Does he bring food to the visit?
No,
Not snacks, candy, nothing?
no.
When Matthew sees Mr. Berry, does he recognize him as his father?
Yes,
Does he call him Dad?
yes.
During the visits, do Mr. Berry and Matthew ever hug, hold hands, anything like that?
At the end of the visit,
They hug goodbye?
yes.
And what kinds of activities and things do Mr. Berry and Matthew do during the visits?
They play on his phone. Matthew likes to play video games.
Okay. Do they talk as well sometimes?
Sometimes.
And do you notice any bonding between Mr. Berry and his son Matthew?
Besides them playing video games, they really don't communicate. Other than that, no.
Would you have wanted to see more communication between Mr. Berry and Matthew?
Yes.
And did you ever bring that up to Mr. Berry, that you'd like them to talk more rather than just be on the phone?
No.
You never redirected him?
No.
But did it appear that Matthew enjoyed visiting with his father?
Yes.
Gabrielle is 18 years old, correct?
Yes.
And do you know what grade level she is?
Currently, she is taking summer classes so she can get to her right grade. She's in 11th right now.
All right. Does she expect to start the fall into 12th grade?
That's still yet to be determined.
But that's why she's taking summer classes now, so she can try to start her senior year in the fall?
Yes.
All right. And do you know if Gabby has any intentions of going to college?
Yes.
You do know that she wants to?
Yes.
And do you know that from talking with Gabby herself?
Yes.
All right. And has Gabby expressed to you where she'd like to go or apply?
Yes.
Where she told you?
Western Michigan University.
Okay. Is that her main focus on Western Michigan?
No, it's not.
Okay. What other colleges has she told you?
Well, whatever has her major, she would like to be a pediatrician. No, a veterinarian.
A pediatrician or a veterinarian?
No, the veterinarian. She don't want to be a pediatrician.
Oh, she wants to be a veterinarian?
Yes.
All right, so she's expressed interest to you at Western Michigan University?
Yes.
Okay. And that, and any other colleges specifically?
She haven't told me, no.
Has she told you whether she wants to wait to go to college after she graduates high school, or if she's ready to go when she's available?
She haven't told me that. No, I don't know.
Now, if Gabrielle goes to Western Michigan University, will she be commuting, or will she be living on campus?
She'll probably live it on campus.
So if she lives on campus, she wouldn't be in the home with Matthew on a daily basis. Is that correct?
Correct.
If the court, strike that, the court found one of the grounds for termination was failure to protect by Mr. Berry, and that was from the mother, correct?
Correct.
And the mother, Miss Blair, will never be in the community again, correct?
Correct.
All right, so that particular threat of harm is no longer, that person's no longer in the community, correct?
Correct.
If the court were to not terminate Mr. Berry's rights today and make Matthew a temporary court ward, you would not be asking that Matthew return to Mr. Berry today, correct?
Correct.
You would want Mr. Berry to be substantially compliant for a period of time with the treatment plan before you would even consider recommending changing places.
If that was the plan, yes.
And Ms. Gordon, the aunt who currently has placement of Matthew, do you know if she's willing to care for Matthew on a temporary basis?
She plans to take care of Matthew on a long-term
I understand, but if she were told that she could have Matthew on a temporary basis, then it might be temporary. Do you know if she would change her mind and ask Matthew to leave her home?
No, she would not.
Okay. So if the court made Matthew a temporary court order as it relates to Mr. Berry, Matthew's placement would not change in the near future. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And if Matthew were made a temporary court order as it relates to Mr. Berry, you would expect Mr. Berry to follow a treatment plan that you've probably seen time and time again, including suitable housing, legal source of income, visiting with the child, parenting classes, counseling, keep in contact with you, and come to court. Does that about sum up a typical
It's the typical treatment plan.
All right. And you haven't been able to give Mr. Berry referrals because this is an initial permanent custody petition, correct?
Correct.
So he hasn't been given the opportunity, or at least a referral, to start counseling or parenting classes, correct?
Correct.
All right, but he has been visiting with Matthew, you said, on a regular basis.
Correct.
And he sees you on a weekly basis because you're there at the visit, correct?
Correct.
And also he's come to court.
Correct.
So if he were offered a treatment plan, he would need to complete the parenting classes, the counseling, get a legal source of income and housing, correct?
Correct.
All right. And Matthew's been out of a parental home for about 4 months now.
Yes.
So if the court were to give Mr. Berry, let's say, maybe 6 months or so to finish a treatment plan, Matthew will not have been out of the home more than a year at that point.
Well, whose home is she referring to? He's never been in Father Berry's home, so what
Out of
is she
a
referring
parental home, that's what I said.
Out of the mother's home.
Right, out of a parental, any parental home. Right.
Correct.
Has Matthew told you that he likes seeing and visiting with his father?
He doesn't talk about his father to me.
Have you asked him specifically how he feels about his father?
I have asked if he liked visiting with his father.
What does he say?
He said it's okay.
But he comes every week.
Yes.
And Mr. Berry has told you consistently that he would like to plan for Matthew. He doesn't want his rights terminated.
No.
He's told you that he is okay with having his rights terminated?
No, he have not told me that he, want to plan for him.
Okay, but you know he's here today fighting for his parental rights.
Yes, I know he's here.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over. Ms. Burns, questions for Ms. Hunter?
Sorry, this is you.
Ms. Anthony, did you have an opportunity to review Dr. Henry's report with regard to Matthew?
Yes.
And you're aware that there's basically a page and a half of recommendations with regard to trying to get Matthew,
Hold on. We lost the mother for a moment.
can you hear us, Mitchelle?
Ms. Blair?
Can I close the door for a second?
Okay. There's about a page and a half of recommendations to try and get Matthew stabilized.
Yes.
Would you agree with that? And you were asked if 6 months will be enough for a typical treatment plan. Do you believe that the page and a half of recommendations of Dr. Henry is a typical treatment plan?
What Dr. Henry wrote, that's not a typical treatment plan. It will take more than 6 months.
Do you have any guesstimate? Would it take more than 12 months?
Yes.
Okay. And you're indicating that you have been in contact with Mr. Berry, not really having a treatment plan because we're still in the trial here. But at this point, he doesn't have a job.
Correct.
He doesn't have housing
Correct.
of his own.
Correct.
Okay. He doesn't have transportation.
Correct.
Okay. And do you believe he's cognizant of the special needs that his son would have?
Objection, Your Honor.
No.
It's just speculation.
She can answer it, Your Honor.
You're asking her if she...
If she believes, I'll repeat the question so the court knows exactly what I'm saying. Do you believe that Mr. Berry is cognizant of the developmental delays that his son had?
No.
She can answer it if she knows. And your answer was?
No.
Okay.
Now, when you indicate the visits that take place every Wednesday for an hour, are the only thing that they do is play video games?
Most of the time, that's all they do. I know that Miss Gordon, the aunt, she will bring in books and homework for Mr. Berry to help Matthew with.
And does he?
Yes.
Just wait for one moment. You can continue, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Has, besides saying he doesn't want his rights terminated, has Mr. Berry presented a plan to you of what he believes will be necessary to do for his son?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Mackey?
Judge, I would ask, and obviously it's the court's discretion, but given that it's my burden of proof, I would ask to go last, so that way I can be able to respond to all the questions by all the attorneys.
That's fine. Mr. Giancarlo, do you have any questions?
You've indicated that father was appropriate during the visits.
Yes.
Have you had any reports given to you by anyone else that the father has ever acted or said anything inappropriate to the child?
Regarding, no.
Thank you.
Mr. Devlin? No questions. All right, Ms. Mackey?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Anthony, you've been the foster care worker on this case since its inception, right?
Correct.
Meaning since the petition was authorized, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you've had an opportunity to speak to see and observe Gabby and Maddie on numerous occasions, is that correct?
Correct.
And to witness the visitations between Mr. Dorsey and Gabby, correct?
Correct.
And to witness the visitations between Mr. Berry and his son Maddie, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to speak with both fathers about their children?
A little bit, yes.
What have you spoken with Mr. Berry about in terms of his son?
I informed both parents of what, if they're planning on getting their children the things that they need to get, like a job, housing, things of that sort.
And you've informed both parents, both fathers of that information?
Yes.
And have you gotten any type of response from either father?
Mr. Berry reported that he was starting a job.
When did he report this to you?
Oh, that was probably 2 months ago. But other than that, I haven't received any paperwork or anything stating that he started.
So has either man indicated to you how, if this court decided not to terminate their rights, would parent their children?
No.
Or provide for their children?
No.
When Mr. Berry's attorney was questioning you, she asked you if you ever redirected Mr. Berry during visits. You recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay, so she asked you if you ever redirected him about interacting with his son?
Correct.
Did you think as a father you needed to inform him that he needed to interact with his son?
No.
Did you think that should naturally occur to him?
Yes.
Is that how visits normally went, where he would not interact with Maddie?
Other than the phone, they probably once or twice play basketball.
They play basketball?
Yes.
Okay, and this is out of how many visits, approximately?
Out of all the visits from over since March, I've seen them play basketball maybe 2 times.
Okay, and how often was Mr. Berry visiting with Maddie since March?
Once a week.
When was the last time you visited with Maddie?
Last week.
And you indicated you actually asked Maddie how he liked visits with his father, correct?
Correct.
And he stated it's okay?
Yes.
And then Ms. Anderson stated, well, he still comes to the visits, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Maddie's 8 years old?
Correct.
Okay, do you direct his aunt to bring him to visits?
No.
Okay, is it your understanding that Maddie has to come to visits?
Yes.
Okay. Have you also spoken, I know there were only questions from Ms. Anderson regarding her client, but in terms of Gabby and her father, have you spoken to Gabby about her feelings concerning her father?
Yes.
What has she stated?
She said that she did not want to visit with Mr. Dorsey, and we stopped visitation with them almost 2 months ago.
Has she spoken to you about her desire to see him at all?
Yes, she said at this time she does not want to see her father.
Has she spoken about what relationship she has or has had with him in the past?
She said she did not have a relationship with him, but he has her phone number and he does not call.
Did Gabby ever make any statements to you regarding the involvement of Mr. Berry in Maddie's life?
He just said none of the fathers were ever there.
In terms of your observation, in terms of Mr. Berry and his rights to his son Maddie, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation is for his birth rights to be terminated due to Matthew doing so well and have grown both educationally due to his developmental needs with his aunt.
What do you mean due to his developmental needs? Do you have concern about Mr. Berry being able to attend to those needs?
Yes, because right now Matthew is in therapy. He has a tutor that comes out to the home, and the aunt is very much involved with the school and the teachers.
And what are your concerns, if any, about Mr. Berry's ability to be involved?
Due to not having transportation and really understanding Matthew's needs, I believe that Matthew will start not learning as fast as he is, and he starts to fall behind again.
And you heard Ms. Anderson state that the court terminated Mr. Berry's rights in part on failure to protect. Is your recommendation that termination should occur based upon that failure to protect?
Yes.
Why do you say so?
Because Mr. Berry has never been there for Matthew, and Matthew doesn't have a bond with his father.
And is that based upon your personal observations of the two interacting?
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
In regards to Gabby, what is your recommendation in terms of termination of her father's rights, Mr. Dorsey?
His rights should be terminated as well. Gabby does not have any bond with her father, and she do not want to have a relationship with him.
And you understand that she is, as of the 23rd, 18 years of age, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and as the worker for the Department of Health and Human Services, despite her age, is that still your recommendation?
Yes.
That termination occur?
Yes.
Okay. What is your recommendation with respect to Mitchelle Blair's rights to her children?
That Ms. Blair rights to be terminated as well due to the neglect and abuse of the children and the death of her two other children.
Judge, may I have a moment?
Yes.
I actually had another question in terms of Mr. Berry. Is it your understanding that Mr. Berry has other children?
Yes, it was Ms. Blair informed Ms. Hayden and I that he has another son, but he never informed us that he had another son.
You were never informed of this information from Mr. Berry?
Correct.
Did you ask Mr. Berry this, or do you know if he was asked this information?
I know that he was asked by Ms. Hayden if he had another child.
And that information was never disclosed?
Correct.
Correct. Does that child live in state or out of state?
Out of state.
Have you attempted, since you've been on the case, to get that information from Mr. Berry?
No.
Were you at the last court proceeding?
I was, but I was in the hallway.
Do Do you know if anyone on behalf of your agency attempted to get that information from Mr. Berry?
I believe Ms. Hayden did.
And has information ever been obtained from the Department of Health and Human Services regarding Mr. Berry's other child that lives out of state?
I'm not for sure.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? During either of the father's visits with their children, when Mr. Dorsey was visiting, were they ever late or did they miss any of the visits?
Yes.
Okay, who or how often?
Mr. Berry, due to him having someone to bring him, he has been late a few times. There was one time where we switched the visit due to one of the children having a doctor's appointment, and he got that mixed up, so he missed the visit. And Mr. Dorsey has been late 1 or 2 times.
Okay, and their visits would have been for an hour, correct?
Correct.
And was that explained that visits were only for an hour?
Yes.
Was it explained to them that if they missed any time, that that time could not be made up?
That wasn't explained, but they knew the following week they would have a visit.
I don't have anything further, thank you.
Redirect Ms. Anderson.
May I stand here and testify? You indicated that Matthews is doing better, I think in part because of the therapy and the tutoring he's receiving. Is that correct?
Yes, in the school that he's in.
Okay. And if Matthew were eventually placed with his father, his father could put him in therapy and tutoring, couldn't he?
He could.
All right. And then, as far as the transportation issue that my client has, have you ever offered him bus tickets?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did you actually give him bus tickets?
No, because he said he was fine.
Okay. And for any visit that was Mr. Late due to no fault of Mr. Berry's, was he ever offered to make up visit?
There was no visit. Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Was there ever a visit that was delayed or didn't occur having nothing to do with Mr. Berry?
No.
Okay. So wasn't that Ms. Gordon changed a date? No.
But it was made up.
That was made up.
It was made up. He just forgot the day that the visit was supposed to take place.
Because it had been changed?
Because it was changed.
All right, but he did get a makeup for that?
No, he didn't.
All right, so do you stand by your statement earlier when I asked you if Mr. Berry consistently visits his son?
He consistently visits his son.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Anthony, for the seat. Your next witness, Ms. Anderson.
You would best, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Burns, at this point, with your case.
Yes, Your Honor. The only witness that I would have, Your Honor, would be my client, Ms. Mitchelle Blair.
Okay, we'll just take a moment recess. We'll go off the record for a moment. They want to be able to rearrange. And then you're going to...
If you're going to stand here, she'll
see you, and they need to move their equipment. So we'll just go, we'll take a recess for 2 minutes.
Judge, I would just ask the same thing that I'd be allowed to question last.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. think we're good. Okay, she's gonna be right there. That's not too bad. Just on the paper. Either that or that strap on it. You sure that's not the speaker on the side? Pretty loud, no? Yeah. Can you flip it on the paper? Just turn it toward the thing. Right here? Well, no, turn it toward this. Where's the speaker? I think it's pretty loud. I think it was right here as you picked up. See, I can hear it. It's pretty loud. She said something about that. I'm trying to oh, it's down here.
Oh, yeah.
Speaker's down here. Down here.
Yes.
Huh? Yeah, right there. I would just put it pointing right up, right at it.
Okay, let's go back in the record. So we have set up. Ms. Blair, are you able to see your attorney from where you are? Can you see your attorney? Can you
Yes.
see me?
You got to speak up loud.
Yes.
And Ms. Blair, we're going to have you sworn in first, so can you stand up? And I don't know if you can see the court officer that she's going to swear you in.
I see her.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Mitchelle Blair.
If you can't hear Ms. Blair, let us know, okay?
Is there any way you can turn the volume up on your end because I have to keep leaning down into the speaker to be heard?
Let me turn her volume up. We have her volume. Is there a way you can turn her volume? That's her volume. That's Blair's volume.
Are you saying you cannot hear us, Mitchelle?
No, I can hear you fine. I'm saying can you turn it up so you guys can hear me because I have to keep leaning down so you can hear me properly.
We have her volume up almost all the way.
Okay.
It's all the way up.
From where you are right now, just don't lean forward, just lean back, sit up straight. Now just speak normally.
Can you hear me good?
I can hear you. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Just for the record, state your name again, Ms. Blair.
Mitchelle Blair.
Okay. And do you understand the hearing that we're in right now?
Yes.
And what type of hearing is it?
My client stepped out and proceeded with co-father. Need to confirm that with my client.
You're back in the record. So Ms. Anderson, is Mr. Berry coming back, or is it?
Not for most testimony.
Ms. Burns?
Thank you. I'll repeat the question. Do you understand the nature of the hearing wherein Ms. Blair?
Yes, I do.
And what is your understanding of this hearing?
To place the children in the best possible environment, period, and permanently.
Okay. Now you understand, you heard the testimony of Dr. Henry. That was this morning, correct?
Yes.
And you understand that the recommendation is for the termination of your parental rights?
As it should be. I have never even had a desire to fight for my rights. I understand everything I've done. I've never denied anything. My rights should be taken. What I have been fighting for, and the only thing I've ever cared about,
Michelle,
is their rights.
let me ask a question, okay? I understand you're anxious to get your testimony out, but I have to do it by question and answer, okay?
Okay.
Now, through the trial and earlier, there's been allegation that you prevented both of the fathers, Mr. Dorsey and Mr. Berry, from visiting. Is that true?
That's a total lie. I never prevented either of them from coming to see them. That was, they were ridiculous.
Let's start with Mr. Dorsey. He is Gabrielle's father, correct?
Yes.
And did he ever live with you and Gabrielle?
Ever. And that was his big problem also in the beginning of why he disappeared in the first place.
When did he first disappear?
I want to say when I moved out, Alexander Dorsey was so pissed that I wouldn't let him move in with me. He didn't come see Gabby, and she was a baby. Gabby was only 9 months old. He didn't come see Gabby for months. Months and months. Why? He couldn't understand the fact I did not want to be with him. I never stopped him from seeing her, though.
Did you place any type of limitations on his parenting time?
Never. I'm the one that used to call them.
Well, let's just, so that we can keep it straight, right now all my questions are being directed towards Mr. Dorsey, okay?
Okay.
So, did you ever place any limits whatsoever on his parenting time?
No.
And let's start after 2005. What was Mr. Dorsey's visitation?
People over there, they started coming to get the kids. It would always be me having to initiate it. I would ask Gabby and Stoney, do you want to go over there? If they said yes, I called them. He'd always have some excuse, oh, I don't have gas. When you started saying you don't have gas, I got someone, my neighbor, or I would give them gas to get the kids over there.
So how often? How often would you say that Mr. Dorsey visited with Stoney and Gabrielle?
If you go over there, I want to say, at one point, it was actually every weekend. I would have them go over there. I would actually take them over there every weekend. Like I said, I would have to initiate it. He would try to back out saying, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. I bring them anyway. I'm saying if they want to see you, what's the problem? You get what I'm saying? I've always tried to initiate that. He couldn't understand.
Give us a time frame for that. How old was Gabrielle?
What do you mean?
How old was Gabrielle at that time?
I think she was 8.
Okay. Within, let's bring it closer, within the last, say, 4 years, how often did Mr. Dorsey visit?
Did you say 4 years?
Within the last 3 to 4 years.
It was crap. It was crap. And actually, from 08, 09, and 2010, Alexander Dorsey didn't see them at all. We were only like 20 minutes away from each other. I would call, oh, Duke not here, Duke not here. And it was always crap. So I just got tired of trying, and I just stopped. We would always have to be the ones initiating. At one point, I even stopped calling and told Gabby, if you want to see him, you call. She got to run around. So we just stopped. You know what I mean? But when he finally popped back up, I never kept him away. My door was always open. There were never porch visits.
When you said he popped back up, when did that take place?
The first time he popped back up, I want to say in 2011, I forget around what time, whether it was summer, spring, or whatever, but he just showed up. And I'm like, so you realize they not dead, they alive, right? That's what I always used to say to him. Everybody could be dead, you wouldn't even know it. That's kind of ironic in light of what happened, but that's what I always said. You don't know what's going on with nobody over here. You care about us, but we argued, but he came in the house. And what I would do was either go upstairs, go in the back room. He talked to the girls for a second, and then he just has to just gravitate to where I am. And it's like, you don't even come over to see them. You come to see what I'm doing. It's like, I don't want to be bothered with him. So that's what when we get into arguments when he came over. You should never just fixate on the kids. You always got to come around me. And I'm saying, talk to the kids, stay the hell out of my face.
Did Mr. Dorsey ever provide you any type of support, monetary or otherwise?
At one point, I think for a year straight, it was child support being paid. That was for a year. Out of all the years they were alive, that was for a year. Now, when they say...
Was that through the Friends of the Court or direct to you?
The Friends of the Court. And at that time, we hadn't even seen Alexander Dorsey. All of a sudden, it was just, I'm looking like, what is this? You get what I'm saying? It was child support in the mail, and I'm like, oh, he must be working. We wasn't even seeing him at that time, so that was a surprise to me. And I actually went over there to tell him thank you, because I didn't know how that worked with the child support. I actually didn't put that on him. The FIA did. So I actually went over there to thank him. You get what I'm saying? So it was, they just blamed me for everything, and it's like it's an easy scapegoat for them.
Now, you indicated in terms of, you mentioned the porch visit. Did Mr. Dorsey visit by coming and visiting with Gabrielle on the porch of your home?
No, they did not. And that's the main reason why I wanted Gabby to be called. But once I heard she was nervous, I wasn't going to do that to her and make her get on the stand. But she could also verify that. But there were never any porch visits. That don't even sound right. Who would sit on the porch for an hour? Alexander Dorsey's ex-girlfriend, she said there were years of porch visits. First off, the last time she's ever seen them was in 2006. You get what I'm saying? 2006. So everybody's gonna understand lying. There were never any porch visits.
Okay. Now, what about Mr. Berry? What was his parenting time schedule, if there was one?
There was never a parenting time schedule. Stephen also disappeared, but his was just like, Stephen will come around, like for, let's say, 3 days, 3 or 4 days, and then you don't see him again for 7, 8, 9 months. And then he pop back up, and it's like, what the, you get what I'm saying? He just comes back like, I remember he came to the door one day, one of the kids let him in, he talking about daddy's home. Like it's a joke or something. You get what I'm saying?
Miss Blair, the time, give us a time frame of when you're describing this. When did this happen?
This has been all, okay, when we first had Stephen, even before Stephen, it was like, before we had the kids, he was always there. When it was just us, me, Gabby, Stoney, and him, he was always there. After Stephen came, I want to say he left 3 months later. He never got up, he never did anything for Stephen, never did anything. Never got up in the middle of the night, never did anything. One of his friends knocked on the door at 12 o'clock midnight, he out the door. Like a little kid. He never wants to just sit down and be a father.
Okay, there was a period of time that Mr. Berry was incarcerated, correct?
Yes.
After, I believe it was in 2012, after his release.
2013.
13? Thank you. Did he come to visit with his kids?
Well, first he sent a letter. He mailed a letter somewhere around in April, and he asked me to come see him. He was on a tether, and at that time, he couldn't leave at all. So I took Matthew over there, and we used to go over there a lot. Actually, I'm the one that even used to go to the grocery store for Stephen. So when he said that I never left him alone with Matthew, that's a lie. They were there for multiple times over 2 hours with each other on the Vinewood. We used to always go over there and spend a night.
When he was released, how long was he untethered, if you recall?
I think he got off a tether, totally off a tether, August, but before that, he actually got time out. Like, you had to be in the house, like, I want to say maybe 3 or 4. He had to be back in the house or something. He had to be on a work release thing, so he would actually come over to the house every once in a while. You see what I'm saying? So, how many times he asked about Stephen? I didn't have to keep saying Stephen was at my aunt, Stephen was at my aunt. He didn't ask about him like that. That wasn't Stephen's way. That's not how he is.
When he was off tether, did he increase his parenting time?
No, you barely saw Stephen. I remember when I first tracked back up to Stephen, actually Stephen Berry's attorney, who she called Victoria Johnson, she actually took me out to Stephen Berry, well, in Redford, where he's living right now on, I want to say, 2014, August 6th. I definitely remember that. I couldn't find him. I know Matthew's birthday was coming up August 18th, and I wanted to find him, like, where are you? Are you going to be there for Matthew's birthday? He was home. Me and him started walking. He thought Matthew's birthday was on August 16th, like he always did, but he was telling me, oh, I was out of town. And I'm trying like, what do you mean out of town? Basically, since Stephen's a womanizer, when he even in his own testimony said he went to Georgia with a friend. No, he went to Georgia to meet up with a female that he met online to have sex with for a month. That's...
Thank you. Questions have been asked with regard to your relationship with your aunt, Miss Ford. What type of relationship did you have?
My aunt is like a really loving person, and I don't appreciate Stephen Berry's lawyer trying to attack her character. What I will...
Mitchelle, just my question, okay? What type of relationship do you have with your aunt?
It was kind of difficult for her.
What does this have to do with the best interest of
Well, as Ms. Anderson herself was going into it, trying to somehow slander the reputation of Ms. Gordon, we have a right to go back and ask the person who she was saying that allegedly Ms. Gordon should have known something. I can build into this for the best interest of where we believe the children should be as to what Ms. Gordon knew or didn't know and what the relationship between Ms. Gordon and Ms. Blair was.
Well, the aunt is a proposed long-term placement, so to the extent it's supposed to best interest, it's okay.
Thank you. What was your relationship with your aunt?
At one point, it was really good, but I can be honest about this fact. My auntie knew nothing, okay? And I actually purposely made it that way.
Okay, you ask questions. You can't do a narrative with the court is ruled, okay? When did your relationship with your aunt change?
After I found out about what Stephen was doing.
Okay. And can you give me a time period for that?
That was in August. That was in August of 2012.
Okay. And how did your relationship change?
Well, I basically stopped talking to my aunt, period. At one point, she used to come over every day. That's how she was. Like, she loved us. She loved all of us. Like, she checked for us. If one wasn't there, she looking like, hey, where they at upstairs? She loved all of us. And I knew if anybody would know anything was wrong, it would be my aunt. So I purposely kept her away, meaning I was just nasty to her for no reason. You get what I'm saying? And it hurt her. That really hurt her because I know she missed me, she missed the kids, but she never stopped coming. She would knock on the door. Sometimes I would open the door like, what? You get what I'm saying? And it hurt me to do that to her because I love that lady, you know? But I made her feel basically like she couldn't come. You get what I'm saying? But one thing I didn't have to do is I didn't have to do that with Alexander Dorsey and Stephen Berry because they were never around anyway.
Okay.
So that's why I took extra care to be that way with my aunt because she was the only one that would really know that something was not right. From the moment she walked in their house, she was looking for everybody. She loved us. The only person in my entire life who's ever loved.
Now, your two children, Gabrielle and Matthew, are placed with your aunt. Do you believe that that's in their best interest?
That would be in the best interest of any child to be placed in their home. My auntie is one of the people, and my Uncle Daryl, she's just one of those people who just does what she's supposed to do, like just down to very small things, like her ethics, her work ethics, just everything about her. She's, for instance, I was playing around with Gabby one day. You know how you pat somebody on the back of the head? Like, I think Gabby said something to me. We were just joking around with each other, but she thought it was too rough, so she grabbed Gabby and she hugged her and rubbed the back of her head. Even though she knew me and her was playing, she goes, "Oh my God, don't worry, you, what is up?" You know, just, she's real gentle. It's whatever needs to be met.
You listened to the testimony of Dr. Henry this morning and the extensive needs of both of your children. Do you think your aunt could provide for those needs?
She most definitely can. Whatever needs to be done, I don't care if she had to ride out to Timbuktu, she would get there. Auntie Angie would break her neck because as of right now, I know it's killing her inside because she's very worried about their future. And I know what's got her the most is she want to make sure their heads are going to be right, basically, so they won't turn out like me. You know what I mean? My auntie is a very gentle person. She's even-tempered. There's no other place for them to be. And I'm in prison, so I don't understand what's the objection to them being with my aunt. It's not like they're going to have communication with me. I'm in prison. You understand what I'm saying? My aunt is not, she's as pissed at me as everybody else is. Believe that.
Okay.
She wants what's best for them in the worst way.
Okay, Michelle, those are the questions I have for you. The other council may have questions, okay?
Can I also just say something? Because this is about my character, right? For the best interest.
Ms. Blair, just wait. Well, the other attorneys will have questions for you. We're going to go around. So, Ms. Macy's going to be last, so we'll go around the table. Ms. Anderson, we'll start with you. Probably where Ms. Burns was, so that Ms. Blair can see you. Okay.
Ms. Blair, can you see me?
I see you and I hear you.
Are you asking the court to take your advice on what's best for your children?
What do you mean by that?
Do you want the court to follow your advice on the best interest of your children?
I want them to do what they're setting out to do, is put them where the best place is for them to be.
Okay.
It's not just my advice, it's a fact.
You know what the best place for your children is that right?
Say it again?
Do you know what's in your children's best interest?
I know for sure it's not me, but I also definitely know it's my aunt and my Uncle Daryl. Actually, if I had been in their care coming up as a child, I wouldn't be sitting right here today.
Do you believe you know what's in your children's best interest as to where they should live?
Yes, I do.
That was just a question I was asking.
She answered yes, Your Honor. Did you believe it was in your children's best interest to beat them, torture them, and kill Stoney and Stephen?
Stoney and Stephen, that's a different subject. So we're talking about Matthew and Gabrielle right now in the best interest. So we're just gonna stick with that, right? See, now I know what you're doing. You're trying to go to my credibility. I just said I've admitted to every wrong thing that I've done. Yes, I'm a violent.
Move to strike, not respond.
Ms. Blair, you just need to listen to their questions. We're going to go all around the table. We're going to finish that with your lawyer, Ms. Burns. You just need to answer their questions as we go around. Ms. Anderson,
Okay.
Do you believe it was in Stephen and Stoney's best interest to beat, torture, and kill them?
They were raping my son, so I think we know the answer to that.
Do you believe it was in Gabrielle and Matthew's best interest to beat them?
It definitely is not. That shows as a reflection of how I am. That was not in their best interest.
Do you believe it was in your children, Gabrielle and Matthew's best interest to witness you killing at least one of your children?
The one that was raping him for years? I understood your question. Did you understand my answer?
Your Honor, move to strike down the content.
Well, Your Honor, she engaged in a dialogue, Ms. Blair was dialoguing back with her.
This is question and answer. This is not a conversation.
It was not response, but the point is, Ms. Anderson, is that we're here for what is the best interest of Gabrielle and Matt, not what is the best interest of the children.
Okay. Did you believe it was in Gabby and Maddie's best interest to you witnessing you kill at least one of your children?
I don't know, Judge, this line of questioning is not relevant. Mother already stated that she knows her rights are going to be terminated, so I don't know where this line of questioning is going. It really has no bearing.
This is completely irrelevant. The mother's up there testifying that she knows what's in the best interest of her children. And I'm allowed to attack that credibility, Your Honor.
You can attack the credibility, but the point is that the issue on the table is whether or not it's in the best interest of Gabrielle and Matthew that the parental rights of the two fathers in this Blair be terminated. The other things that happen don't come into the equation.
I'll move on, Your Honor. You indicated that Mr. Berry visited Matthew on a regular basis over at his place of residence after he was released in 2013.
No, not a regular basis.
Did you say you brought him over, Matthew, over to see
Yes,
him?
I did.
Okay, how often?
Yes, I did.
How often?
Most of the time, I want to say we actually were there without leaving for a week and a half. And after that, Matthew said he wanted to go home. So I took Matthew home. Stephen Berry would always ask me to come back. So I went back. But there was never consistency with Stephen Berry and Matthew. He barely even talked to him.
And you said there were times when you left Matthew alone with Mr. Berry?
Yes, I did. When I went to the grocery store, Stephen Berry.
All right, so you weren't concerned about leaving Matthew alone with his father?
No, I was not. I was the only one abusing them. I never accused them of abusing their kids. I just said they were never there. They were deadbeats.
Is it true that after Mr. Berry was off the tether, where he could travel about freely, did you restrict him or say he couldn't come into your home?
Not true. Actually, he was there for a couple days, like I said earlier. He asked about Stephen once, that was it. And he used to come over because our house was close to whatever workforce program that the parole thing obligated him to go to in the morning. So he would come to my house and then leave there in the morning. That only lasted for less than a month. And even when he was there, it was never about Matthew. I never stopped him from coming to see them, ever. He just disappeared.
When he asked about Stephen, what did you tell him?
And just like Sony was at my aunt's.
I'm sorry, repeat that? I didn't hear that.
I told him that he was at my aunt's.
All right, so you lied to him.
Yes, I did.
All right.
Did he push it? No, he did. He asked me once.
Do you know the difference between a truth and a lie?
Objection, Your
I
Honor.
just told you I lied. But
Okay, I'll move on. Did you tell the school that Gabrielle and Matthew were not going to attend because you were moving?
I did.
And was that true?
I know the difference between truth and a lie. I definitely lied.
Okay.
I told them that we were moving because Stephen was dead. In September school will be starting. So, yes, I'm pretty sure they would have been looking for, like, why Stephen missing school. So, yes, I told them that we weren't coming back because I was moving. So trying to blame the school, it had nothing to do with the school. I actually went through all the proper channels to drop them also. So it has nothing to do with the school. The fault is blamed on me. That's it. I know what I did. I'm admitting to everything I did. But you will not try to blame me for them deadbeats not being there.
Did you tell your friends, Ms. Johnson and Mr. Martin, that Stephen and Stoney were upstairs because they didn't like to be around other people?
I did. I can answer that. I did.
I'm going into the witness's credibility, Your Honor, and I'm pointing out lies you told. I don't think that's not relevant to somebody's credibility if I can show that they've lied in the past.
Your Honor, the court is best interest of Gabrielle and Matthew is totally different with regard to the deaths of Stony and Stephen. So all of this goes to that. Yes, it is inflammatory. Yes, it makes her look bad. But she's already admitted it.
Ms. Anderson's point is that she's trying to attack her mother's credibility as to her opinions regarding Mr. Dorsey and Mr. Barry. They're showing that the mother was untruthful.
That's correct.
The mother has already admitted that she was untruthful in some instances, such as the schooling situation. I don't know that we need a lot more, but I'll give you a little latitude, but I think it's apparent. The mother's already admitted that she was untruthful in certain situations.
And truthful in the most in terms of what she did.
I'm not in favor.
Okay, Mr. Devon, it's one minute.
Ms. Blair, after Stoney died, what did you tell Gabby to say to Mr. Dorsey if he asked where Stoney was?
Come on.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Blair, I have just a couple of questions. If you don't understand one of mine, let me know and I'll rephrase it, okay? Okay. In terms of Mr. Barry, after he was released from prison in April of 2013, up until March of 2015, how many times did he ask about Stephen?
I can count on my one hand.
Did you always inform him that he was at his aunt?
Yes. He would say, is he still over there?
Did he ever probe the issue, meaning demand to see Stephen?
No, that's never how he was. Stephen has missed, I don't even have to say how many he's missed. Let me tell you how many birthdays he's been there for. 2. He was only there for 2 of Stephen's birthdays. That's it.
What about Maddie's birthdays? How many birthdays was he there for Maddie?
One. Just one birthday. And when I used to say that he should talk to Matthew more, because Matthew used to have a really deep list, it was hard to understand what he said. Stephen Barry's words, that little nigga be alright. He's like, I can't understand what he's saying. What's the point in talk? I can't understand him. So no, he never talked to him. Anytime he came to the house, it was always me he was gravitating around. That's it. And when Stephen would pick Matthew up, Matthew would try to swing on his arms to reach back for me. He didn't know him.
In terms of after Mr. Barry was released from prison in April of 2013, you indicated that there were times he actually came to your house?
Yes.
And he actually stayed there for a month?
Basically, not a month. I'm talking about on Vinewood is when we used to go over there.
Right, but I want to talk about after he was released from prison in 2013. He came to your house where Stephen and Stoney's bodies were, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and did he ever ask to see Stephen when he
That
came
was
to
not
your
what.
house?
Can you repeat that? I was talking when you were talking.
The times after he was released from prison, Mr. Barry, and he came to your home, did he ever, once he was inside your home, go upstairs to look for Stephen or anything of that nature?
No.
How many times?
Even when.
How many times would you say he had been to your house after he was released from prison up until May of 2015? Or March of 2015, excuse me.
I want to say 5 or 6, and some of 5 or 6, and some of those were consecutive days, back to back.
What I want to ask you, because was Mr. Barry ever in your home in 2015?
No.
Was he in your home December of 2014?
You said December?
Yes.
No.
No, okay.
No.
All right,
No, nobody. We've never seen Stephen on the Christmas, even when they were alive. And when he said that he spent his money. I sent Stephen $470 while he was incarcerated. He never even wrote Stephen once or responded back to any of Stephen's letters. Stephen sent him 8 letters. Stephen never wrote anything back to him. He never bought a phone card. All he did, he basically, those tattoos that he has, a tattoo on his neck and on his chest, he got those while he was in prison. That's what he used the money for that I sent him. Not to get phone cards, to get prison tattoos and keep his hair braided and get snacks. That's what he spent the money on. We had no contact with him the whole time he was incarcerated. So when he says that he spent every bit of his he spent every bit of his money on commissary.
Just wait for the next question.
In terms of Mr. Dorsey, after Stoney's death in 2013, did he ever ask about her?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you told him that she was at Iraq?
Yes.
And
He never pushed. Yes.
Did he ever come to your house after she was murdered?
Yes. And he even said that in a news interview. He would sit, our table was by the freezer, he would sit at the table with me and Gabby, or just Gabby, and they'd talk for a minute. He didn't come a lot, but yes, it wasn't like he come in looking for Stoney. Like I said, the only one that I felt that I had to really push away was my aunt, because she's the only one that would have known something was wrong. I didn't have to do that with Stephen and Alexander, because they wasn't going to push, and I know that.
I have one moment, Your Honor. Judge, I don't have any further questions.
Ms. Burns, are you ready? All right, thank you, Ms. Blair. We're going to take a brief recess, and then we'll get a pick up on safety. So let's go through it. Ms. Mason, you go to does everyone think you're on the close?
You need to check it. Battery's good.
Close to the podium.
From the podium.
Judge, would you be making a decision today?
Thanks, Your Honor, for being patient. Thank you.
Sounds like we're getting some interference on that.
Yeah, I think because it's so loud. It's up so loud or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, that could be why. Does this mean that this thing is wearing out too? Is that why it looks like that? That means this is wearing out too, right? That's why the letters aren't working.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it doesn't work right. It's working, but just... Yeah, I think so. Just not very responsive.
Get off of these about 10. Get off of these about 10.
Plug in a mini committee, right? Audio. Okay, great. Marker on track. That's 5 hours for that.
Anderson and Mr. Berry. I'll step out.
Okay, let's go back on the record.
Do you need to?
All right, we're back on the record, and they're not ready to close these, Ms. Magazine will send.
Do you need to talk to him? Judge May, do you want to address her?
All right, let's talk the record.
It's just, the worker is saying that Ms. Blair wants to speak to her attorney.
You need to speak to,
I don't know what the topic is.
Ms. Blair, do you need to speak to your attorney?